Some say it's a trap game, buddy, this weekend on Sunday. I'm not really feeling that, man. Are you feeling that?
I'm not feeling that at all. I was born in the trap. Let's get it.
Let's go. And welcome in, folks. Episode 197 of Out of Your Falcon Mind, Atlanta Falcons Fancast. My name is John, your host. Join me, my co-host, Mr. Mike Cottrell, on a Thursday night. What's going on, buddy?
On a Thursday, no shades. I'm clear-eyed.
It is. That's true. No shades. Yeah.
I'm clear-eyed and bushy-tailed, buddy. I feel amazing right now. I've been tired all week, but I got some sleep last night.
Good deal. Well, as you can see, Kane's walking around the bed. He just laid down. I thought I got a different setup this week because I thought I've arranged it well enough where he cannot knock shit over, because I'm expecting like the camera to go down, the light to go down. Something's going to happen. But I Amanda went out. She ran with him, so he should be good to go. If he just sits there for a bit, we're straight. But yeah, man, welcome in, everybody. Man, hopefully y'all are new to the show. Welcome in. Hope you enjoy the show. You can catch us here, once or twice a week, pretty much. We previewing, recapping the games and whatever else we try to do on this channel. But yeah, if you drop us a like, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to us on any of the podcast platforms, feel free to drop us a 5-star review there. We much appreciate it. And you can email us, atlfalconfancast@gmail.com, if you want to send us anything Falcons related, anything and all. Y'all know we play a lot of games, talk a lot of different stuff on the show. So, anything at all, we will take the emails for sure. We appreciate it. We do have a special guest tonight on the show, and it's been a bit. He hasn't been on this season so far, so it's good to have him back, Mr. Joe Patrick, 99 The Game. What's up?
What do you know, Joe?
What is up, guys? Has it not been this season? That's crazy. That's crazy.
I don't think so. I think it was like just before the season.
Just before, yeah,
because I think maybe training camp. Yeah, I think it was training camp because Mike was
out. That's when it
was.
Yep. Well, anyway, yeah, good to be on. We have a lot of ground to cover then in that case, and
we could sit here for like 4 hours and talk about a whole bunch of stuff.
I was just thinking, you talk about trap game. You take over the trap game. You go into the trap game. You take over that trap game.
Take over the trap. There you go, Joe.
Dude, I saw somebody on Twitter. I think it might have been one of the guys that we follow. That I think he follows us. Tory Jones, maybe, if I think it right. He had posted a picture of the Little Caesars, whatever the hell it is, the dome, and said, "Walk into the dump, take over the dump." And I thought that was pretty damn funny.
I love it.
It's pretty awesome. But yeah, man. So yeah, Joe, we appreciate you being here, man. I know you busy schedule, so anytime you can make time for us, we greatly appreciate it.
Oh yeah, it's been a little bit crazy lately, but yeah, no
doubt about
it. It's good, and it's not much better time than talk to Falcons football right now, because this is the best run it's been in years.
Joe has to be like the new voice of like John Madden. I gotta hear just Joe. He should be the voice of John Madden football. Okay. Joe is my voice. It would be perfect to be playing the game and just have Joe call it play by play. John Madden, all that Joe Patrick, man. It's a must.
Oh man, I appreciate that.
Go ahead, Mike. Did you have something else? Oh, sorry, I think you said
no. I'm just ready to go. It's all positive stuff to talk about. I feel great. D, what up, D? D said, "What's up, fellas? We run the South. Let's go."
Yes, sir.
William Amy said, "Handle business in Superdome." Superdome is that's a whole other thing. Crispy finally made it to a second live show. Crispy,
hey, appreciate you, man.
I love that you made it, buddy. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. All right, Joe. Well, like I said, we'll jump into not to the game yet, but on the season so far, man. Are you surprised, shocked, thinking like this is where we're supposed to be here at 6-3? Anything just kind of blew you away so far?
Well, it's kind of like it's kind of where I thought they would be, but you all like when you go into a season, you kind of you look at the schedule. Obviously, everybody does their game predictions and whatnot, and you I don't know. I pick the games, then I kind of expect myself to get let down in some respect, and maybe that's just kind of the last 5 years or so of
that's just a Falcon
conditioning, right? But I have to say it's gone almost like too smoothly. It feels like to this point. They lost a couple games early, and that caused some consternation. But I think you can tell they've really grown from those games. Like, this team looks nothing like that game they played in the opening week against the Steelers. And then I think that it actually it helped them to kind of have that, to be battle tested early in the year and to kind of get stress tested in that way. And I think that you're seeing Kirk just really lead this group, especially, you know, I kind of refer to him as like the chief executive of the players, you know, of like the roster. He like kind of like, he's almost like an extension of the coach in that way. And it's really important to have that kind of experience and personality kind of driving everything, you know, from the player side of it. It can't just all come from the coach. You got to have that. And, you know, especially on offense, we all know that the quarterback position's most important position in all of sports, and for good reason. There's so much that they have to kind of be aware of and have guys, you know, synced up and ready to go. And so, yeah, he's been, I think, everything and more that the Falcons paid for him.
Yeah, the dichotomy between the first week and then the rest of the season is like night and day. So I mean, for the team and him as well. Like, because I mean, you know, on our show and damn near everybody's show after the first week was like, oh my god, like we're screwed. Kirk can't move. The offensive line crap. We can't run the ball. Like just there's all kinds of worriedness. But yeah, it's and I think Kevin Knight said it pretty well too. I think it was Kevin. He's like, you know, those early games that we won that we were kind of sweeping out at the end of the year, or I'm sorry, end of the game, to whereas the last few games, even though they've been still close, but it seems like it just feel like we've been a lot more in control. The team itself, it's like a, you know, like I was never that worried during the Dallas game, you know, even though it got, you know, a little weird at the end. Like I never was like, oh God, we're gonna, you know, here we go again. Thankfully, you know, but that's just, I thought that was summed up pretty well by him.
And there's a confidence that I think a confidence from fans that they're going to be able to see their team score points, you know, which was not a reliable feature of this team the last few years. Obviously, again, when you don't have the quarterback, it becomes tough to do. And I'm kind of curious, like, where you guys, because, you know, they were not scoring points, frankly, early in the season. It did they were stumbling out of the blocks a little bit, obviously going up against some really tough defenses and the Steelers and Chiefs. I'm kind of curious. I want to ask you guys, like, when did you start feeling more comfortable about this team and kind of the trajectory that they're on?
Oh, Joe, it was day one for me.
Yeah,
Come on, you know you can't have day one. I said Super Bowl, baby, let's go. He probably threw like one first down, and I said Super Bowl. Here we go.
Because I remember after the Chiefs game, I was getting tweets about like people like seriously saying like Zach Robinson's not the coordinator who's cracked up to be, and all this stuff. And I think there was like some basis for having criticisms for sure about him at that point. But I'm trying to think about when it was for me. It may have been like that game in Tampa, where it's like, okay, this team can move the ball.
Yeah, I think I was going to say Tampa, but I was actually going to say the one at home, just because that was the first game that we were like, okay, Todd Bowles was like, you guys are not going to run the ball, and Kirk was like, cool, I'm gonna throw for 500. So it was, you know, like that to me, just for the offense to show like they had that in them, they could do that even when a team said they're going to shut down what you want to do. I know, you know, like it's one thing to say, you know, you got a good quarterback, but to go out there and actually prove that you can call the plays, receivers can go out there, you know, beat their guys, get the receptions. That was huge for me. And then I think, you know, it's like the Saints game, I think, was kind of a weird one, just because number one, it's the Saints, and you know, we didn't have an offensive touchdown in that game, and it was just, I mean, special teams defense showed up, and that was just a weird game. It's just, you know, and then Seattle, we talked about this. No, I'll get your opinion on it. We said it now for a few weeks. Like, of course, you don't want to lose the game, but I thought the way they lost that Seattle game might have been the best thing for them this season, just to be like, oh, wait a minute, like we can't overlook nobody for any reason, whether it's injuries, whether it's whatever reason. Like, no, we have to go in the same way every week and as if it was, you know, a first place team.
Right. Yeah, for sure. It's funny that Buccaneers game, when, you know, Kirk goes off for 500 yards or whatever. It's funny because I've heard so often over the last couple of years since I've been covering this team, like, you know, well, the defense stepped up today, and these you know, guys on defense are just, you know, they're humble, and they say, you know, it was our turn to step up today, and we know that, you know, when we take a step back, our offense is going to pick us up. That hadn't really happened until that game. That was the game where they really needed that offensive explosion to really just carry them essentially and continue to put up points, and they did it. And and I think even like in that Eagles game and on that that comeback on Monday Night Football. Obviously, they kind of catch a break with the whole Saquon dropping that ball, but then to go down the field in that circumstance and just like as surgical as they were to like go down and score a touchdown, after the Saquon dropped that ball, everyone's talking about, how lucky they were in that circumstance. And sure, certainly they were, but they were still, I think the expected or like their percentage chance of winning the game at that point, even after they got the ball back, was still only like 6% or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So like, that still showed something that this is like a different Falcons team.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
Tampa, Joe, was cool because it was like the first time where it's like, here's what we had planned, and you stopped it, and we switched hands. It was like usually we just right hand. So if you cut the right off, we just we can't do nothing. But that was the first time that we switched hands. It was like, okay, we do it with the left.
Yeah,
and I was
we got a left hand.
We've never been able to do that before. Where it's like, okay, you stop me here, I go here. It was new to see that, and that's kind of sad, but very exciting.
Yeah, totally. And I think fans kind of picked up on that right away. Like instinctively, they knew like, oh, like we got something different here this year.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, it was kind of last 3 years we were just kind of used to just, especially that Eagles game, just losing those games. Like we're like, oh well, this one's over. Like here's 0-2 staring us in the face, and we got the Chiefs. The Chiefs next week, and so it was bleak there for a second. And then all of a sudden, a minute goes by and we win the game, and it was bananas after that. If you had to go, or if you had to assess kind of like where you feel like Zach Robinson, Zach, and Jimmy Lake this year, obviously brand new, but different, both success to an extent. One a little bit different than the other, but like I guess start with Zach. What's your take so far?
Yeah, I couldn't be more impressed with Zach. I never figured that they were just gonna like be running gangbusters and doing all this creative stuff from the get go. I always kind of had an understanding that it was gonna take some time for him to understand, his players, just personnel wise, what they were capable of doing, what they were comfortable doing out on the field, and then you always just evolve as the season goes on. You're able to, you just get more time on task together. It's like what the phrase they always say that's now I'm catching on. But now you're seeing an offense that is just totally dynamic pre-snap and post-snap. Like with what they're doing with the motions is it's like turning it up to 11 with like what these guys are doing. Really, Mike McDaniel kind of broke the lid open last year with these kind of, what do you call them, the exit motions, or the the thing that creates the new numerical order by motioning a guy in a slot like out to be the widest receiver. And now obviously the Falcons are doing that kind of stuff. The motions with Darnell Mooney kind of running that orbit motion into like a backfield role, and then running backfield routes for him out of the backfield. Extremely clever way to use a player like Darnell Mooney. And then even like something I was picking up in this last game was them running some motions where the ball gets snapped as soon as the guy in motion gets right behind the guy at the line. So it's basically like a stack release, but it's out of a motion. And I think that is just throwing defenses. It's not like totally disrupting them, although sometimes we've seen them completely break their coverages and there's guys wide open, but more so it just puts them in that split second of indecision, and that's what's allowing these guys to get that edge that they need to create the space and complete passes. And Kirk is just consistent enough where they can just do that, boom, 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 down the field and score. And now you're seeing them get more balance, which I think is the most exciting thing. You're seeing Kirk's not having to throw for 500 yards anymore. He's throwing for 240 or something with 3 touchdowns and no interceptions, and it's just really efficient in that way. And you're starting to use all the pieces, and it feels like there's going to be some games where Kyle Pitts doesn't have a lot of action, but then the next game he could go off, and that's just like that's really what this kind of assortment of skill players, that's like the danger. It's not that you're always going to be able to feed all of them in a given game. In fact, you're probably never going to be able to feed every single one of these guys to the extent that some people would want in a game. But in any game, any of them could go off. And that's what's such a threat for these defenses.
Man, fighting the octopus, Joe, you don't know where that punch is coming from.
Exactly.
You don't know where that punch is coming from. I love it, though.
Exactly. And then with Jimmy, it's like, first of all, I will say that it's just harder. I don't know as much about like defensive football from like a technical standpoint. I have a better just personally, I can like understand like what an offense is trying to do. It's easier because they're setting things up, and the defenses are just naturally reacting to that kind of stuff. And I didn't like, I use what little football knowledge I have from like playing where I was played on offense. I didn't play on defense, so I don't really understand as much on defensive side. But it's clear that they're struggling. They're struggling. And I think like personnel wise, it's not great either. Like the way that they talk, and I mentioned this when I was on with Kevin Knight yesterday, but the way that these guys talk is like we need individuals to win their battles, and that's not happening. And I think that that's why a lot of people thought that they would make a move at the deadline to bring somebody in. I think they probably wanted to do that. There's a lot of reasons why I think they ultimately did not, but I still hold out hope that they can get better. I'm not saying that I think they're going to like become a top half of the league defense by the end of the year, but I think they can improve marginally, and sometimes those margins can help. And one thing I will give the defense is they have been able to create turnovers, and it's not like they've been so bad that it's actually causing them to be a poor football team. Like they're still 6-3. So for the complaints that we have, I think that there are some silver linings, and there are some ways that they can get better. I think it's just they're frustrating to watch more than anything because they're just not getting those pressures, and they're just allowing too many kind of easy completions. And just when you're watching a football game, it's just really frustrating to watch. It almost feels like you're just conceding it. Like you're just willing, you're happy to give up these 4 or 5 yard catches. Yeah. And so even if they could force some more incompletions, I was saying this yesterday, like even just force some more incompletions, I feel like that would help this team immensely in terms of setting up opposing offenses into some more difficult down distances.
Yeah.
Now, Joe, you can't just gloss over your like glory football days. Now, what did you play on offense?
I was a center.
Oh, you was the center. Go ahead, Joe. Smoking Joe. I love it. That's a good position. Yeah. Dirty position.
Yeah.
I love it.
I was not very good, but
I love it.
That's why I watch. I think I can safely say nobody here talking or watching was couldn't have been that great at at football.
There's the reason we're not playing out there right now.
Sir.
I mean, other than just being too old to do it at this point. But I mean,
for sure.
But no, it's like Mike and I talked last week. It's like it is frustrating to watch, like as you said, because it's like death by 1,000 cuts. It's just like okay, and especially first and second down. It's like our third down percentage has not been really good all year long on defense because there's so many 3rd and 2s and 3rd and 3s and 3rd and 4s. And we'll talk about with the Saints. We cannot do that with the Saints because with Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara, those are two guys that can get up 2 or 3, 4 yards fairly easily. You know what I mean? So like we want to keep those guys in third and long, but we'll get to them later. But no, go ahead. Did you have
well, I was going to say it's like, and they're going to be down their top 2 receivers and Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave. And I think that's like something that, was so frustrating about that Buccaneers game on the road, which is that, they were without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And they're still just like allowing these easy completions. It's like you would think that with a team that's down those receivers, you could get a little bit more aggressive with it, and kind of get into more man coverage situations and just not allow Baker Mayfield to have that time to, pick out open receivers. But ultimately, again, they came up with the turnovers when they needed them. So it's like I can't say it was a total like bad performance, but obviously. And I think things have gotten marginally better. Obviously, it was a better game against the Cowboys.
Yeah, and they did play a little. They tried to play a little more man there until the end of the game when it was just like keep everything in front of you type of thing. But
and then as soon as they got away from that, exactly, what happened all season, what we've been complaining about, happened in that final drive, and they just allowed Cooper Rush to pick them apart.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, like seriously, Cooper Rush. I totally. So I keep hoping to see more type of man, like you said, a little bit more aggressive, and even if it's and I know the line looks like they've been trying to mix and match and see which guys are going to be the right guys to get in there and get to the quarterback. They ran more stunts last week. It seemed like at least they ran more stunts, they ran more twists. Guys were getting there. I hope. I'm glad. Thank God, Grady's good. Looks like he's going to be like I guess. Yep. Good to go for the Sunday, right?
Yep, he was limited today. Yep.
Yeah, right. And looks like Troy's good. Troy's good to go, right? From what I saw.
Full participant. He told me he's going to play. So, I expect he and Dahlman back. I mean, honestly, for the Falcons injury wise, this is like the best spot they've been in now for quite some time, really, probably since like the
Yeah.
opening game of the season, honestly.
Yeah, and Troy's gonna be so huge, man, because again, Kamara, that's about the only answer we have for him as far as at the linebacker position. And so like having him back's gonna be just mad. Have you heard anything? People ask almost every week. Have you heard anything on DeMarco Hellams recently?
I haven't, and I mean to ask this, and it just always slips my mind when the press conference starts. But no, I haven't. He broke the bone, right? Am I right in saying that? Did he break his ankle?
I don't even remember what he said. Like,
maybe I'm assuming that. I think they put him in an air cast, I believe, when the injury happened, which tends to signify that there's a fracture there. So I would think that he's probably, what were we in, week 10 now? I would imagine he's probably, 2 or 3 weeks from, them opening his return to play, and then 21 days from there. So I'm just totally speculating, but that's what I would guess.
Yeah. Hopefully, because he definitely would make a nice little impact in this defense.
It's weird with the injured players. Like, we literally don't see them, and I don't know what they do with them, because I know they're around the facility, but they're just never like in the locker. They're never in the locker room when media are in there. They're just
upside down.
Something, man. So like, who would you, if you wanted to throw an offensive MVPs halfway through the season right now, who would you give it to? Is it obvious?
Yeah, it's obvious. Sorry, it's obvious. It's the quarterback. It's
right.
The most important player. Why don't we do it just not counting the
1B,
right? Yeah. Oh man, I think it's got to be Darnell Mooney. I think it's Darnell Mooney. I think he's transformed this offense. And obviously he's a different coordinator and everything, but his ability to separate and just give the offense an explosive element in the receiving game is a huge difference maker from like this skill group with Arthur Smith that had these kind of big ball winner types like Mac Hollins and those types. And
he's no Van Jefferson.
Yeah. And then that put a lot of undue stress on Drake London to kind of be that explosive element and be that kind of everything kind of receiver, which I think he's not that he can't do that, but he's just better. He's more efficient player when he has somebody else who can run a lot of those deep routes, and he can just really dominate on that intermediate area. What do you guys think?
Totally. No. Yeah. I mean, I was going to go. Yeah, I was going to go either Darnell or Bijan. I mean, Bijan for obvious reasons too. Yeah. But Mike.
Like Bijan.
Yeah.
I was between him and Bijan too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kirk does. I'm just proud of him because he had a lot to prove to us.
Yeah,
he had a lot to prove because we paid him a lot of money, and then he started off slow.
Yep.
So it was like, man, we got our arms crossed, like, Kirk, you old mother, all right. And then he's just getting better week by week. So I think I'm proud of Kirk. I'm proud, and he was hurt. He come off an injury, so he got to prove that to himself and the league and the fans. And then it's a great time, and I know this sounds stupid to people, but this is real. I was proud of him when he swag surfed.
Yeah, of course.
Taking the team. It's mine now. Now it's mine.
Yep.
It was, and that's stupid to people, but that was the moment where it's mine now.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm the leader, I'm the guy. Hey, how's everybody doing? Everybody. So it was a cool moment. I'm proud of Kirk. Very proud of him.
Sports are entertainment for the fans, and like, if you want to be entertained, like you want to kind of connect with the players who are representing you on the field, and so like for him to do that kind of thing, I think it's actually really important for players to have that connection, build that connection, especially like when you're coming in, there's a lot of expectations on you on the field, but you're just kind of coming in out of nowhere. You don't know the city or the fan base and whatnot, and I think he's done a great job in that respect as well. It's a good call out, Mike.
Totally.
King Richie said, fellas, what's good? We can't let this be a trap game. They have to come to play. Oh, they will, King Richie. Oh, they will. See, electrician.
What up, C?
I didn't know what he said. John moving too fast. Jay Black says Zach is growing as an OC, but I hope he stays with us for at least 4 years. We do hope Zach stays, but that's not how they usually go. Dre the Boxer, Bob and Weave. Dre still want to pair Brian Flores with Jerry Gray next. We love Jerry Gray next season if he doesn't take a head coach position.
There you go. Larry, what's up, buddy?
Listen, Larry, like button smash. Smash it, Larry. Kick it with your foot.
Man, make sure y'all check out Larry.
Down dirty. What up?
What's going on, Mac?
Jay Black said when we get Trice back and draft. Oh, man, I can't wait. We'll get a free agent and then the D will dominate. I'm with you.
So, dude.
Michael Ward, the Hall of Famer. What's good?
Yeah, absolutely. What's going on, Michael? Oh, yeah, the O-line, man. Yeah, I mean, if you just want to say that, I mean, if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to like call out a single guy on the offensive line, but
Yeah.
I'm so impressed with this offensive line's ability to like flip the switch from last year to this year and go from last year a run heavy, play action pass oriented offense to being like second or third in the league this year, and just like neutral pass rate being just like natural dropbacks without play action. Just doing a great job pass protecting for Kirk, and that's been like a feature of this season so far, is Kirk having the time to throw, because everybody knows, and especially nobody more than the defensive players and the defensive coordinators that they're going against, that he can't really move, and the offensive line is making it so that that's not as big of a a vulnerability than it otherwise may have been. So yeah, definitely a huge shout out to the offensive line. And I would say Matthew Bergeron in particular, I think is really developing well in his second year.
Huge step forward.
I've talked to Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith about this previously, about these offensive line prospects that are coming into the league now, and how a lot of them are just not really ready to play, play well, especially from the get-go. And, you kind of need to develop your body and your technique for, to get ready to play against professionals, because the college level is just not preparing these guys in the same way, with the way that they're spreading everything out and all that. And I think Bergeron has been, one of the best probably of his class, and the way, especially considering he's transitioning from that tackle to guard spot, it's been really impressive to see him grow.
Yeah, I think that would be my next question, actually. But we'll finish out. Would you go Jesse Bates for defensive MVP so far, or?
Yeah,
or
I mean, it's definitely him. I mean, I'm just kind of, I'm thinking like he's probably the best player on the team. Like he's just like the best football player on the team. He's not the most athletically gifted, but he does everything when you need it. He's just like, he's a captain. He's the best prepared guy out there. He gets his teammates in the right spots pre-snap. He obviously makes incredible plays. Man, another one where, I think the national storylines with a lot of the Falcons, kind of premier free agent signings of late have been like, oh, they're overpaying. Like that's an overpay. They're paying big money for a safety and Jesse Bates. They're giving Chris Lindstrom, a guard, a massive contract extension. They're signing Kirk Cousins to how much money? It's like Darnell Mooney. He's getting overpaid. They're paying him like he's a number 2. And all of these guys have hit to the point where they all seem like bargains at this point.
Yeah. Joe, Jesse is like vital, and he's worth all the money because he changed the game. There are times where you would say like the defense is terrible or it sucked, but the reason why you don't say that is because the plays Jesse made, because he made it look like, well, you know what? Well, they kind of was fastball that game, or he can change the course of the game, and that's powerful shit, man.
Yeah. Like that Tampa game, obviously the most recent kind of example of his heroics, kind of coming up with that. Honestly, to create a turnover on the second play of the game, that team really needed that, going into that game to get off to a good start. Has that incredible interception before that, or later, I'm sorry. But even like when I think back to like that first game that he played as a Falcon last year against Carolina, I know this is a long ways back, but, I don't know if the Falcons win that game if it wasn't for Jesse Bates and against a terrible Carolina team at that point.
I know. Yeah. Well, and my next question was going to be your biggest shocker, who has kind of jumped out at you or surprised you this year that you maybe weren't expecting. And I'll answer first. And to me, it was going to be the O-line, because I wasn't expecting the O-line to really pass protect as well as they have been, because that's just not, like you said, that's not what they were really under Arthur Smith. I mean, just run, and it was a lot of play action passing. A lot of the quarterbacks are able to get out of the pocket, able to move. You knew they were athletic, but could they actually stand in there and protect for a pocket passer? They blew me away to be able to do. Like you said, just the amount of time he's had, and the job that Newsell's done stepping in for Dahlman. I thought it's been awesome, even though he does do like one stupid penalty every week. But like that, he gets it out of the way. That's it. It's done. But then but yeah, other than that, I mean, like he's been great. And like you said, Jake's been, nobody's been complaining about Jake, I don't think, this year. There's always a few people out there that, that for whatever reason want to, get on him. I understand he's not perfect, but my God, he plays every game. And he's been there forever.
Completely great sweatpants, man. All reliable. I'm not going to trash Drake. Never.
No, because not only that, is like you don't like, just like a quarterback, you don't understand what it is until you don't have one,
right?
And all of a sudden, you don't have that steady guy that's going to be there every week, unless protecting the blind side of your quarterback. Then then you'll know. Like, we found out real quick with the quarterback after Matt left. But anyway, Joe, on to you, buddy. Anything that's just kind of like you weren't expecting?
Well, I hate to bring the vibes maybe down a little bit, but I think the most surprising thing for me about this Falcons team this year is the lack of the pass rush. I mean, and just how anemic they are. I thought they would be way better.
Well, can't go negative, Joe. He steered you into the.
I gotta
gave you the oof for the positivity.
I gotta bring some here. Like, it's trade for Matthew Judon, a guy who has incredible numbers in his career. He hadn't done anything, or very little. I shouldn't say nothing, because he has made some plays, including that tip pass that got returned by Troy Anderson for a touchdown.
There you go.
It's just been a huge disappointment. And like, even if you thought they were still going to not be great rushing the passer, for them to be just as bad as they have been is rough. But offensively, I think maybe the most surprising thing is Ray McCloud, just how much he's used and the player he is for this offense right now.
Mike?
Man, I'm going Drake London. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I always believe in my mind he done hit the ceiling. Like per year, I'm thinking he good, but he average. He can't do too much. He can run like a 5-yard slant. He real tough. He could get. Then he just year after year. I'm thinking, geez, he's pretty damn good. He could do a bunch of stuff. Like, he's pretty good. He can even block good. So I'm impressed. He's blowing my mind right now. I think he's
what I love about Drake this year is how much he's being able to show how effective he is in the red zone and as a weapon, like, in the end zone because these previous teams he's been on, they just haven't had a passing offense that was able to really get him or anybody else the ball in the end zone. It seems like nobody was catching touchdown passes for this team, and now you can just see how big of a threat he is with a quarterback who has a good rhythm with him.
Yep.
Yeah, and I told Mike last week, it was like, it seems like with our offense, our drives, they're not very long. I mean, like, we get the ball and it's 4 minutes. That's our drive, and then we've scored, and I love that. It's great. But like I said last show, I would love to have like an 8-minute drive one time. Like I said, just take a little bit more time off, let the defense chill. I mean, like, limit the opportunities for their team, but that's just not. I mean, we just get chunks of yards at a time, which is fine. Like I said, I'm not going to argue because we haven't been doing it in a long time. So
Joe, how cool is it, Joe? I think I told John, I had to tell John this over the text when we seen the game. I said, when we do like 3 passes and we in like the red zone, it's so new of a feeling. It feel weird. It's like, how did we hit, but we didn't? But we about to score already. It seemed like we already, when it's a large chunk, I'll be like, is it a penalty? Is something wrong? Is this Madden? Am I asleep? Am I in the upside down? I don't know what's happening. Is it still like new for you two to see that? Is it still shocking? Like, damn.
It is. It is. It is. It feels weird. And I would say it's probably, it's growing. I'm growing more accustomed to it now, but I'm still not like, again, like I've told this story, but this isn't exactly to the point that you're talking about, but just to kind of, again, getting myself acclimated to this team. I haven't actually seen many games on TV yet this year, just because I only kind of cover the home games in person. And then I traveled to Charlotte because it's drivable. And so other than that, I think they've only had 2 or 3 on TV. And I remember that Buccaneers game, when you're watching the game on TV, you can't really see the receivers, like, where they are when Kirk's like throwing the ball, when he's releasing the ball. So when I'm in person, I can see it. It's like, okay, that guy's open. That's, good throw, whatever. But in that Buccaneers game, it's like, it was that touchdown pass to Darnell Mooney that he had kind of down that left seam. And I'm just seeing him release it. And I'm just like, well, this is getting picked for sure. Cause I've just like seen that happen so many times over the last couple of years. But then it's a perfect pass. But I mean, I think to y'all's point, it's like when this offense, when it's clicking so well, they don't even get to third down. Like they just, it's like first down, second down, first down, and they don't even get to that situation. So, and I think at some point they had like the fewest third downs even faced because they just, they weren't even getting to that point.
Yeah. The fewest 3 and outs still in the league.
That is wow to me. I heard that. I said, John, I had to ask John, did they say what I thought they just said? Yes. It was this awesome.
Yeah, man, that throw you're talking about too, Tampa, man. I remember watching that on 22, and I was like watching the end zone shot, and I'm like, what in the hell possessed him to even release it? Because like there was nothing. Like Mooney's not even close to where he catches the ball. There's 3 3 bucks right there. I'm like, this, like you, I was like, this has got to be fixed. But like, it just show you, man, like he's getting more and more comfortable every week with all the receivers.
And the way that on that pass, the way that Kirk used his eyes to move, I don't know if people remember that play, but the way he moves that center field safety to the right to give him more space down that left seam to fit that ball in. I mean, that was masterful. And that was when that was one of those moments where I was like, man, Kirk is different. Like that's why he is such a good quarterback, despite the fact that, you know, he doesn't have like the strongest arm or anything. You know, he's got some limitations physically, but man, you just can't, like, you know, these super talented rookies and young players that are coming out that have these amazing arms, like they don't have anything close to that in their game yet.
That's just the ability to literally, like, and it's cliche, but literally the game is slowed down for him in his head enough to where like he and even the play in Tampa where he ran to that 13-yard, like he realized like, oh shit, okay, this is man coverage and nobody's paying attention to me, so I'm gonna go ahead and get these 13 yards, you know, and like that was ended up being like the play of the game. And W, man, Mike said Mike Hughes.
Great call on Mike Hughes.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before. I've already submitted my apology form. It's sent. It's approved. I mean, like, I was the biggest hater on him. Was like, oh, he's got to be gone. Like, this is going to be, you know. And I mean, just based on the last year alone, like I said, and I knew, you know, he's never been great in the slot, but he'd always played outside. So I was like, okay, well, maybe he'll be better this year on the outside. And I mean, it hasn't been perfect, but man, he's been damn good. Like he's not been where you're like, we got to get rid of this guy at all.
I love the physicality that he brings, like to the secondary, to the defense in general. Just like the aggression that he plays with. Yeah,
they both
and Clark Phillips. All of them aggressive as hell.
Clark will Clark will stick his head in there for sure.
Yeah, Clark always plays like he has something to prove, and I mean, I get it. I get it because you know that's probably what it's always been for him. He's always been a tiny guy out there, so he's always had to play like that. Which is great. That's what you want.
But on like defense, it's Steve Smith, man, reincarnated on defense. I'm telling you, he's a wild dude.
Yeah, but before we move on to the Saints, I hope as far as like you said earlier, the pass rush being like your surprise. I mean, I didn't expect it to be like as bad like you. I didn't expect it to be as bad as it is, like with the guys that we had. But it's like we started to realize 4 or 5 weeks in, it's like, okay, we have depth, but it's a bunch of like B and C depth. Like there's no like as much as I love Grady, like, and he's been good this year. Like there's he's not the same guy was, you know, 5, 7, 8 years ago. But we don't have that kind of alpha guy in the middle. We don't have the alpha guy on the edge, you know, like Judon. For what he's, and I know he's getting double teamed more this year than he ever has been. And AK's improving definitely. And I saw his earlier the press conference with him, and he was saying, you know, they looked at the film and like we should have had 6 or 7 sacks last week. You know, based on just what we was there, we let him go or whatever the case happened, what the case may be. So, you know, I just hope that can at least continue because we figured it out last week. We basically have to average 2.5 sacks the rest of the year just to get to 30. You know, every game. So like that's really just, I mean,
we're down bad.
Yeah, when you get to the playoffs, that's tough to, like Mike's been saying. You know, you're facing these good quarterbacks. If you can't pressure them or allow them to just
go through all the reads, you're gonna lose.
Right. Ends up being like Kirk, what Kirk's doing right now, basically. Which is going crazy.
Tony, did you just shoot at Grady Jarrett? Like it was a little shot, it was in the foot. Did I just see you shoot at Grady?
Just a
little bit.
I mean, I love
Grady. We still love you, buddy.
Oh yeah, I love him to death. Yeah, I don't want him to go anywhere. I mean, like, yeah, he's still a very important piece. Like I said, he's been one of the few guys in the middle that has been getting through. You know, I think behind Judon, I think he actually is the second highest pass rush rate on the team, which again is not phenomenal. I think Judon's like around 8 or 9, and he's like 7 or 6 or 7. So it's not like it's you know huge, but it still is something. But I haven't heard anything about. And last question before the Saints. We've been talking about Brandon Dorless if we're going to see him anytime soon. And I was talking with a buddy of ours on Twitter, Jones Bones. You know, he was like, you know, it's probably not so much what he can do individually, but what he can do within the pass plan of the pass rush plan of the team, which makes total sense. You know, selfishly, we were just saying we just want to see him because if we just, you know, it's the only rookie we haven't seen yet, so we just want to see what he's got. I mean, anything you're hearing, you're seeing practice field wise.
No, I mean, like, I've asked about him specifically to some of the coaches, and that sound has gone around the internet. It's just boilerplate stuff, saying that he's developing well, and
Yeah.
that he'll get his time and all that kind of stuff. So it's really hard to tell, and we're not able to really see anything that they do in practice. Obviously, we're there for like
Right.
individual drills where they just go through some things. What the thing I will say about the situation though is that I tend to trust coaches that they're making the best decision for the team, and that if they've really truly felt like he could help them, then they would be, why wouldn't they put him on the roster? So I think it's just the MO of this coaching staff right now is to not force any of these rookies into playing at all, because none of them are, frankly,
Right.
except for Rook even started to get a little bit playing time, but it took him some time. They spent the top 10 pick on a guy who's not going to play for a couple years, and so I think that's just kind of again, I say it's the MO because I just think they think that these guys will benefit and be better players if they can just not have that pressure of having to play on game day and just, focus on getting better, being a better professional day in, day out in the film room, in the weight room, all that kind of stuff, and then just kind of let it happen naturally. So that's the only thing I could say. But having said that, I'm as disappointed as anybody else too, for the same exact reason, just because you just want to see him play ball,
Yeah, let's see what he got. Because I mean, we know he's versatile, and he can play anywhere on the line. At least he did at Oregon. So just kind of see what their idea is for him, in this line. And my thought was like, he can't get any worse. Like literally, like he may be a spark. You never know.
Yeah.
Like it can't really go down, for that matter. So, but you never know, man. Chris, what's up, buddy?
Chris, what up? He said, "Rise up, let's get it." Joe, I have a question for you. Now you around the team, so you can catch the vibe, smell the fragrances. Joe, do you feel like the team is intent on going far this year, or you think it's like more of a plan in the future? We're gonna build this up, and we might like the year after this or the year after that, maybe when Penix get in, we're gonna establish something. Or do you think it's like, man, I think we can go now?
Well, I mean, I think that they think they can win now. But I think that generally speaking, just keeping it real, I think that, it's like we need to be humble to ourselves and saying like we need to prove we can walk before we can run. Like let's make the playoffs.
I'm trying to fly, Joe. I want to skip both of them. Joe, I'm in the air.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that there's kind of that realism in the building that this is a long-term project for them, and that while they want to win as much as they can this year, they're not like going to sell the future in order to do that. And it's kind of funny because I think that they're almost kind of overperforming in the immediate term to the point where fans want them to kind of go for it even more, especially when you talk about the trade deadline that just passed, and them ultimately standing pat. I can still think that they wanted to bring somebody in. If they had the option, yes, they would have wanted to bring somebody in. Ultimately, the risk of doing so, they didn't feel like it was a good idea for them to do that. But I think that it does speak a little bit to that point, Mike, which is that I think that they see a bit of runway for themselves going into next year especially. I think next year is really the year to like really go for it, in like the Kirk Cousins version of this team.
Same.
I like it, Joe. I love it.
Yeah, I said the same thing with the trade deadline. It's like, oh yeah, I would love to add somebody, but it sounded like the Giants were wanting a whole lot for Ojulari, and like he's going to be a rotational piece. He's having a good year, but this has been the best year he's had of his career. It's not like he's been doing this every year. He's now on a line full of guys that are. I mean, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence. I mean, those guys are. That does something as well. So it's like, I mean, he would have been a good addition, but again, it's like I'm not mad. We gave up potential picks for him, and then. I mean, obviously Detroit, they're going to make a run at Za'Darius no matter what because of Hutchinson going down. So there really wasn't, as far as anybody else out there. Preston Smith, I didn't have really an interest in.
I agree.
I mean, he's of all the guys that were out there, like that has just been like another C guy to add to the rotation. I was like, we don't really need to do that either, So I wasn't upset with it. I mean, if we'd have had maybe more picks, but we'd already, we don't have that many picks for 25, so it's like not a whole lot we can do with it.
And it's a risky proposition, I think, in football when it comes to like the trade deadline, because of the nature of the sport is such that especially like for a lineman, like he could go out with an injury for a significant period of time, in his first game. And if he does, and if he misses, like even if it's not like season ending or anything, but like he misses 4 games, it's but you gave up a 4th round pick for this guy. It's like, how much value are you really getting back? Unless you had a predetermined, like, you knew you were going to sign him long term. In the case of Ojulari, it's just a risky proposition for football teams in general to try to like buy rental players essentially in the trade market, like you do in a sport like baseball, where it's a lot more predictable as to what you're going to get from the point that they sign onwards.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, so on to the Saints, man, or the Aints. I know we're not supposed to say the name here on the show, but in fact, I just flipped the Falcons versus the other team. So there we go.
The other team.
The other team.
So we'll start with the injury report. Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about it already with our guys, but we've got. I'll bring it up here. So yeah, Troy's back, full participant like we talked about. Drew Dahlman back. Drake still limited. Anything on Drake other than it's just a pain tolerance thing that we've been hearing?
It sounds like, it sounds like it's kind of like a pain tolerance thing / the team kind of not wanting to push him. It sounds like Drake would want to play through whatever he's got, but the team wants to play it safe. And again, kind of related to the rookie conversation we were having with them not wanting to like force rookies in. Feels like they're also just very conservative. Some of these injuries where they don't want to force anybody to be playing through stuff right now.
Yeah. Kyle Pitts hamstring. I guess that's pretty minor from. I mean, I haven't heard anything about it other than just he's limited. But James, I don't think I've ever seen tibia listed under injury report.
That is an interesting one.
Typically, when a tibia, like you break that you don't really strain. That's a bone. So like, did he bruise it? Did he? What's going on with his tibia?
Yeah.
But Chris Lindstrom limited. Grady, of course, we know is limited, but he says he's good to go. Judon full after an illness, and JD, I guess, still not cleared concussion protocol from. Yeah, I guess so. Probably not going to go this year. This week.
He won't be available this week for sure.
Okay, well, that must have been a bad one, man. So definitely Troy back, which will be plus. And like I said, the Saints, man, it's just a long list of guys. It's and even Cedric Wilson Jr. Like he hasn't participated. He's like the next guy in line behind, Olave and Shaheed. And he hasn't participated the last 2 days. Kool-Aid hasn't participated. And he's. We said on the last show, and y'all know by now that they traded Marshawn Lattimore to the Redskins, to the Commanders for a 3rd, 4th, and 6th round pick. They got back a pretty good little haul for him, man.
Yeah.
And Olave with that bad concussion, it's obviously going to be out. We talked about Lucas Patrick. I don't believe he's going to be playing from what I've read on their site and read around other rounds. So that's a possibly
a boot.
Yeah, he's in a boot. So yeah, that's going to be tough. Another. DB's limited, just a whole list of guys, man. Jamal was limited. I mean, Derek Carr was full. Alvin, he's going to play, of course. Eric McCoy limited with the groin, and groins are always never fun anyway. So like you can't be an offensive lineman having a bad groin. That just doesn't work. So if somebody can, one of our D linemen can attack him, that'd be nice.
I hadn't thought about McCoy. Has he returned for the Saints? Do you know? Because he's their center who went out basically the same time as Dahlman. I remember they were then going in to play each other with both of them missing their centers, and I don't know if he's returned yet.
I haven't. I mean, he was still limited. I don't know. Like I haven't heard anything other than that. And I was trying to find other podcasts to see if I could find out anything, but no, that's
okay. Yeah, so
he don't want to play center again, but that's all he's doing right now. He trying to play center again. He having a flashback. He think he's gonna join the Saints. No, Joe.
So one of the reasons why I was wondering is because when you were showing that injury report, there was no designation for him for the Wednesday, and it just showed him limited today. And turns out, after a quick Google search, they opened his return to play today. So this was his first practice. So I would think if he's just returning to practice and he was limited today, that's going to be kind of tough for him to get back and actually play on Saturday or Sunday. But we'll see. Just depends on how much they want to push him through.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the big news of the week for them, at least, they fired Dennis Allen, which I was, I told them last show, I was really hoping just one more week, man, just one more week. Let us go in there, kick his ass, and then all right, then you can kick him out the door. But like I said, to be fair, you lost to the Panthers, so yeah, here's the door, buddy. Like have a good one. But
Joe, I got a question for you. Hold on, John, real quick. I got one for you, Joe. So we've played like a bunch of teams who've had like great injuries that would help us tremendously. We have been blessed beyond belief, right? Why do you think we cannot take advantage of it? It plays out as if the people were playing in the game. It's just the same uh, uh, competition as if the people were playing. Why do you think that always is that we just can't? Hey, he hurt, so we gonna pray on him and we're gonna dominate that. Why do you think that is?
So I think I think what you're saying is definitely true. Like that has happened, and the game that stands out to me like is that last Buccaneers game where they didn't have those receivers. We talked about it, and they were just like still playing them like these guys were Mike Evans when they were somebody I haven't heard of. But I think, like, you know, on the other side, I think the Falcons actually have taken advantage of some injury weaknesses that teams have had defensively. Like when the Falcons played, when Kirk broke out for that 500-yard game against the Buccaneers the first time they played, they had a lot of defensive injuries. They didn't have Antoine Winfield, for example, and several other guys. And I think that they were really able to take advantage of it. I think what you're saying is pretty much strictly related to the defense kind of not taking advantage of offensive players that teams are missing. And it comes back down to just the general weakness of the defense that we've observed all year. And it's just, they're just not like kind of, again, specifically in the pass rush, dynamic enough to disrupt, you know, opposing offenses, which is frustrating.
Yeah.
Very much so. Very much so. So are you worried about the new coach bump?
Yes, I think it's definitely a thing, and you got to be concerned about it. Like, you know, if you're a Falcons player, you got to be prepared for the Saints to come out and bring extra juice to the game.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's a really interesting matchup because of the way that game ended at the end of the year last year with them running that ball in out of the victory formation. And, you know, they'll never say it publicly. That's like on their mind or that they care about it or whatever, but I cannot think that they don't care. Like, you know, I think that they care. And they may even like agree with like the reason that Jameis Winston gave after the game, saying they wanted him, he got like a bonus, that running back got a big bonus for getting that touchdown or whatever. And like, even if they can appreciate that aspect, they're still a code. they're still a code.
You don't do that on victory formation.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to do that, line it up and run it, you know? So
don't get guys hurt.
I cannot imagine that doesn't play into this for the Falcons players. So for that reason, I think that it's actually good that you at least have that motivating factor for the Falcons as well, and you know the Saints are going to have that motivating factor to play for their interim head coach, who seems like a emotionally kind of spirited guy who is that kind of guy who will want to activate that aspect of the team, that kind of emotional aspect. But for that reason, I think you got to be prepared for some chaos. I don't know if they're going to run a fake punt the way that the Falcons have been defending fake punts this year, but exactly. It feels like it's going to be one of those games where there's like squirrely stuff that happens.
You got to watch Taysom.
Yeah,
of course.
Seriously, Falcons killer. Like,
I'm so sick of that dude, man. And I think Ross Jackson brought it up on the crossover with Aaron too, that Rizzi was the guy at the end of the game last year when Arthur went to, was pissed off and was screaming at Dennis Allen.
He went, damn.
Yeah, Rizzi was the guy that was like just giving it back to him like tenfold. Like he was getting after his ass too. So yeah, he's got that little crazy in him that he's going to probably try to bring out of the team for sure. So and, and any player you talk to, like even the guys today, like Grady and all those guys said, when Raheem took over in 20, it was like, it is. It's like a new voice. It's a new energy. It's like, it's a real thing. Like you said, like, so it's a concern. Like, I still think we should win. Like I told Mike on the last show, we should win the game. It's still going to be, I think, a close game in the end. We're probably going to be like clenching our butts at the freaking end, like as usual. But like, they're just too many injuries for them, I think, to overcome a really healthy Falcons team. With the offense, it's just been, and I know we didn't do nothing against our defense last time out. Demario Davis is going to be healthy. Pete Werner, like as far as our defense go, like those two guys, Alontae Taylor taking over pretty much for Lattimore, and Taylor can be a little overly aggressive too, which I think you can take advantage of that with him. But That's the biggest. Granderson's definitely still their best pass rusher. You know, Cam
Mm-hmm.
Jordan's not the same Cam Jordan he's been
Yeah.
over the years. You know, and Breesy up the middle, you got to watch him too. Like he's that young dynamic guy in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't think our offense. We're in a different spot just in general with our offense than we were than the last time we played those guys.
Right.
So,
it feels like that first game against the Saints was like that was like the last portion of like a previous version of the Falcons this year, and then like, you know, a new Falcons team started up literally that next week against the Buccaneers, and it'll be interesting to see how the Saints deal with that as well. Yeah. But you think about it, it's like the Falcons are just the more talented team
they are
in general. Even put all the injuries aside, it's like this is really a game you should be winning. And I got to say, you know, again, to kind of bring it back to Kirk, having a quarterback like him. He will have the offense ready to go. And, you know, the team yesterday, they didn't even practice. They just did like a walkthrough type of thing. And I think that one of the reasons why you feel like you have that luxury to do that kind of thing and preserve yourself physically, just doing that load management stuff, is because you have a quarterback who can actually get preparation work done in that kind of walkthrough mode. Now, you obviously do need some full speed reps during the week, but I think back to, you know, if this was Arthur Smith and Desmond Ridder, they would need every single rep they could possibly get during the week. You know, like you couldn't afford to do that kind of thing. So just having a quarterback like Kirk helps in so many different ways, especially when it comes to prep for a game like this.
Yeah, 100%.
Trey said, but the Bucs also took the defending champs, the Chiefs, to overtime without their top receivers.
That's true.
Not just us. Yeah,
Bucs are a good team, by the way.
Yeah,
I feel like they kind of get overlooked now because they picked up a couple losses in quick succession from the Falcons. But yeah, I mean, like they gave the Lions their only loss. You know, when the Lions were very healthy and the Bucs weren't actually.
Oh yeah, outside of them being a rival, like, are you a Baker fan?
Oh yeah. I have a bunch of respect for him, and I asked a bunch of the Falcons players about him too, and they clearly all have a ton of respect for him. You can tell they appreciate him. Just like he's just got that kind of competitive spirit that endears himself to just football players generally, you know, just kind of that, even if he's not perfect, you know, he's going to give everything he's got on the field, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, dude on Twitter said he had like just the perfect amount of douche in him. Whereas it's like, that's it. That's like, oh yeah, it's just like it's just that right amount where
that's why other fans hate him. You know, like exactly. those are the kinds of players that rival fans really, really dislike.
Yeah, without a doubt. Nothing more than the offense putting 50 on Cam Jordan's head, woo, and listening to him cry, then doing the same to Sean Payton next week. Can't stand him. We gotta get Sean Payton. Berto said, my damn bros. What's up, Berto?
What's up, buddy? Make sure y'all checking out 95 Sports. 95 North Falcons talk show every week, and Smitty Sports Machine. I mean, they're doing phenomenal. And Berto, like we had him on, like I said a few shows ago, the man's doing like 3 different jobs a week. He's busier than Joe right now.
Big money Joe Patrick. The new voice of John Madden. I'm speaking into existence.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, I'm expecting. I want to see Carr, you know, give one to Jesse again, maybe even one to Troy. You know, like you know, because these last few quarterbacks we've played, you know, Dak, Baker, they're good, but they, especially when their offensive weapons are down, like they will force shit. Like they will force stuff during the game where they should not be thrown, especially if you can get some pressure on them. Like if you can pressure, especially Derek, if you can pressure him, he's going to throw some dumb stuff. So we just got to be able to take advantage of it. Like as long as we're not shooting ourselves in the foot, we're not making, you know, like I think like we only had 4 penalties last week. Again, 3 of the 4 were bad situations. So we would be great if we just, you know, don't do that on first down, you know, runs and third down, stuff like that. Don't back ourselves up into a hole. But if we can just limit those things, man, play our game on offense, and just, I mean, literally the biggest thing on defense is first and second down, man. We can't sit back and like that first game, we can't play this zone, the coverage is like zone coverage all game long. Like we're going to have to play some man, be more aggressive, because if we're going to allow them 5 yards, 6 yards on first and second down, then their third downs are going to be way easier to do. And that's just, you know, that's their recipe to beating us is basically getting those third and short situations, or not even get to third and short. You know, you let them go a few times. And like I said, I think Troy's presence cannot be underestimated, just as somebody out there that can kind of follow Kamara around the field. So
No doubt.
John.
I'm actually glad you brought him up because he had the best game. I mean, that's when he won Defensive Player of the Week was in that game against the Saints, where he just seemed to be able to just kind of run down Alvin Kamara time after time, especially when they were running that wide zone. Where I think like Troy's just kind of faster than him, and he can just track him down as long as he's not he's left free, which is a challenge for that defensive line in front of him to keep those blockers off them. But if they can, he's exactly the kind of linebacker that's going to thrive in this league. And I think that it's kind of crazy how quickly he's become like wild card unknown player to like, oh my God, we need Troy Anderson back desperately. Right? He like totally changes the complexion of this defense.
Well, because you see, nothing against Nate at all, but you see like Nate in coverage or Nate trying to chase somebody down. You're like, oh damn, my aunt is faster than he is. Like, I mean, it's just, hey, everybody's got their positives and what they can't do, and that's just not his game, So, Troy, and we said a few weeks ago, we think we're just scratching the surface with Troy, man, because he's only started 10 games still in the NFL. I think 10, 11 games he's been starting. I mean, it's very low. So,
and he definitely has his weaknesses too. He's not like a fully formed player like you just said, but he's got so many positive traits that are like explosive and dynamic, and just gives a different element to this defense.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Berto said, how behind is Brandon Dorless in his progression? I view Rook as more than a project, not Dorless. Can we expect Dorless up this week? Joe?
Again, it's so hard to tell. It's so hard to say. The thing I would say, and this is purely just kind of, this is really like in the weeds, speculative journalism, if you want to call it. But I will say something that I noticed with these young defensive linemen, and I would actually include Zion Logue in this category as well, is it's actually their lower bodies are just not as developed. Like you can see like their legs, their thighs, they're just not as thick. Like they're not as like
so they're skipping leg day.
Yeah.
Skipping leg day, Johnny Yates.
But I think it takes time. I think Raheem was saying it earlier. I think this was actually in relation to something I asked about Dorless, and he said it's like playing on the lines in the trenches in the NFL is a grown man's experience. And I think what he was saying there is it literally takes years to like build your body up to get to the point where you can withstand, double teams and things and be able to hold the point of attack essentially at the line of scrimmage. Because if you are getting moved, it's a huge vulnerability for the entire defense. It makes it so that Troy Anderson can't do what he does, like it affects everything. So I think it's probably some of that, if I had to guess, with Dorless is why we haven't seen him yet.
Makes sense. I mean, for the little that Rook was in, I was pretty impressed with what he showed. Like he was.
Yeah, me too. And he's he's definitely strong. Like I would say he still has like a slimmer lower body than a lot of these guys, but like. If you can still, punch and jolt a guy back and onto his heels, then you got something right.
This is Mike Davis and all this style talk. Yeah, let's go get Mike.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, just speaking like personally, I mean, and I'm not a lineman. Like, I'm not a side. I'm 6'1", 210 right now, and it took me forever just to like. I was the skinny, fast kid in school, so it took a lot for me to gain. But when I was lifting heavily in my 20s, my late 20s is when I made the best progression with my lower body. And I think that was just like maybe. I mean, that could be a thing. That's just like later. Like that's that's not the easiest thing in the world to build. Some guys just have naturally tree trunk legs, whether you don't have to dude, I got a buddy of mine, like literally just walk. He can walk in the gym, squat 315 like it's nothing, and he hadn't done shit. Like it's just, he's just naturally that big and that strong, like I was not that way. Like it took a lot for me to get that way. But yeah, maybe there's something to that. But yeah, like you said, man, like the line's a whole another animal, dude. Like any of us or any regular Joe would just be like, been tossed out like the trash by one of these guys if we tried to go up against him.
God, yeah,
it wouldn't even be remotely close.
It'd be criminal, honestly.
No, it'd be an assault.
Right, exactly.
Yo, I have a question for you. Do you think that there's a team, because we rumbled the Eagles, we rumbled the Chiefs, like we have been in these games, like we play well. Do you think there's a team, including the Lions, that would decimate us? Like, or do you think that we can rumble with anybody right now and possibly win? Or you think it's a team that you've seen that you just feel like we are not ready for them and we would get destroyed? Or do you think that we are capable and we up there?
I think this team can hold their own, especially, it's hard to say, any given game you can show up and just things go to crap, like what happened against Seattle. But if, assuming if we're saying that like this team is going to play generally pretty well up to their level, I think that they can pretty much hang with a lot of teams because of what they're able to do offensively. But having said that, I think the Lions are the team that I think would give them the most trouble, even more than the Chiefs.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, I because again, when you talk about the lack of the pass rush and just how dominant they are, how efficient they are in that pass game, they're just so balanced. I mean, they look like the best team in the NFL to me. Like I would say that they're better than the Chiefs right now. I think the Lions are the best team in the NFL. So that's who it would be for me. But honestly, I think anyone outside of them, I think the Falcons would have a puncher's chance at.
I'm a phenomenal fact.
That's a fullback, baby. I mean, you're paving the way for.
If we're talking thighs, I mean, he must have the thighs then.
Yeah,
exactly. Low center of gravity,
Yeah, Mike.
Joe is like positive, but he always balances it. See, that's the thing about Joe. He gonna give you, he gonna bang with you, but then he gonna say, but you gotta pay attention to this too. Man, it's hilarious. I love it.
All right, Mike, give me a score prediction, buddy.
Score prediction. I say they have the recipe, but not the ingredients. So we take them to town. I'm going 28-7.
Ooh, good Lord. I love that.
I'm going 28-7. I don't see how they score points except with Alvin could break one or two, but he'll score once probably. I don't see them scoring. I don't know how you would score. I don't know who they're going to throw the ball to.
Joe, how about you, buddy?
I'm going to go 31-20. 31-20. Which, and again, the line for this game is only Falcons plus or minus 3.5 or 4, I guess, depending on the book. That seems like a low number. I guess maybe they're pricing in a little bit of a bump for the Saints with the interim coach and maybe some vulnerabilities with what we've been talking about with the defense. But give me 31-20.
Oh, well, I would take that too. I'm going to go super weird game, 24-23.
Honestly, that's probably more accurate than what Mike and I said.
Man, I'm telling you, it's the Saints. So no matter how you think it's gonna go, it's always a good game. It's the Saints.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think there's. I mean, nothing would like Crispy said earlier, man. Drop 50 on them, run it up. I don't even like that'd be amazing. Like that would make my day. I just and I mean, it could happen for sure. I want to. I just think it's gonna be a weird
33-17. I like it, Mike. I like it.
I like that too. All right. So, anything else on the Saints, guys? Before we move on?
No, we should just decimate and destroy.
Yep. Crispy said 45-21. That'd be.
Woohoo!
We need a 40 burger now.
Yeah, that's the.
It's funny. We all just we can all comfortably predict this team to score like 30 points now. It's like they've been around that most of these
comfortably.
Games. Yeah.
Comfortably in the 30s, which is something. He said,
Crazy.
I think they score a few because they're hyped from the interim coach, but we'll have too many horses. Got to get our lick back from them running up the score last year. Oh, we will, sir.
Well, and I said last week, I mean, if we happen to be up by 10, 14, whatever it might be in the third or fourth, like last week, Joe, I thought we got conservative too quickly. And we went 3 and out on those last 2 drives, which was way too fast. And like you said, our defense went back to what they
were. Kane has – okay. I knew it too.
Hang on, let me switch it back. It's like he knows. He just like touches the freaking
–
but yeah, so if that's the case, then I want to see us like step on their throats. Just keep going, man. Just keep the ball down the field, keep scoring. Don't think it's ever out of reach. Like just like score as much as possible. All right, man. So as y'all know, if you don't know, if you're new, we close out the show every week playing some different games. We do in or out. We do underrated, overrated. Man, we're going to do a little man. I was wondering. So,
Man, I was wondering.
Mike, start it off, buddy.
Let's kick it off. Man, I was wondering. Man, I wonder so many things. How am I going to meet Summer Rae? That's the first thing I wonder. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it one day. But that's no here, no there. Let's go. I was wondering. You guys, Joe, Johnny Yates, what is the best flavor of Gatorade? I mean, just if you got to pick a Gatorade, you in the
I got
gas.
my answer.
I know mine.
You got to pick a Gatorade and
Me
on
too.
a hot day in the gas station. How you going with it?
In chat, you can ask, man. You can do, man. I was wondering yourself. You can respond to these questions. Y'all can get involved. Whatever y'all want to do, man. Feel free. Joe, go ahead.
So for me, it's orange. I think orange is the best.
Go.
Let's go.
There you go, Joe. Good pick, buddy.
Orange is great. I prefer orange Gatorade over like an orange soda, an orange pretty much orange anything. I mean, I think orange Gatorade is the best.
Yeah.
So I haven't had Gatorade in forever, but do they even still make this citrus cooler?
Oh, that's the yellow one, right?
No, it's like orange, but it was like the most amazing freaking. It's like basically orange. There we go.
He said citrus, but it's citrus. I don't even know what that is, John. I gotta try.
You gotta find if they still make citrus cooler. You gotta find it. That was the shit.
Is it this color?
It's orange. Yeah.
That sounds like a sun flavor to me.
I've never had the cherry white one.
Crispy said I'd go grape. I love the grape one though.
Grape
the grape one is really good.
Now, if y'all do
cherry white is weird. It just boggles my mind too much with the color and the taste. So it never sits right with me for that reason.
So if y'all do pre-workouts, like this pre-gym I have right now is a peach sunrise, and it's fantastic. Or you can go orange mango.
Like an alcoholic beverage at a bar.
Now you can mix a little vodka with it. I'm not gonna lie.
a little upper with the downer.
You can't. It's
even hype at the gym, but
no, you don't even need it for the gym. If you just want a nice little, you want a little bit of creatine, but you want a little bit of a little something else.
I love
a little vodka.
A little fun.
A little bit of fun. A little bit of fun. Orange mango also phenomenal. And by the way, have y'all ever had Zevia? By the way, or even know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, so it's soda, but it's sweetened by stevia, so it's not. They have cola. They've got like this is weird. Like one of the really good ones is root beer or the cream soda. It tastes just like root beer.
I have had it. Isn't it clear? Isn't it?
It's clear.
It
freaks you out
because they don't put the colorings in it.
There's no coloring, so it's just like it's the weirdest thing because you're drinking root beer and it's clear. You're like, what the hell is happening right now? But it's It's
I gotta try it.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, MW. That's right, buddy. All right, Joe, you're the guest, buddy. You go next.
Yeah. So I mean, this is Falcons related, actually. I'm wondering. Okay. So I'm wondering, like, what's your favorite experience ever, like, watching the Falcons, like being at a Falcons game, watching the Falcons. And I wanted to like disqualify. Well, I won't disqualify anything. I just want to know like what's like the most fun you've had at a game in your life.
It could be, I mean, live or watching on TV, anything.
I guess it could be watching on TV if that's what it is.
I was
thinking in person, being in there. But
okay.
Matty I beat the Packers.
Yeah,
I was live in the building.
Yeah, I was there for that one too. That was sick.
He beat the Packers. It was a phenomenal feeling. I will never forget that. I got to see my hero. Yeah.
I remember watching Julio streaking towards the sideline after he broke that tackle on that longest. Oh my god!
When he beat the Packers,
lasting vision.
Lasting. I will never forget it.
That's a tough one for me. So this is funny. I was 11? It was literally the first game I ever saw. Right, it was at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, and I can't remember who intercepted the ball. Man, we've talked about it on the show before. Dude intercepted the ball 22. Golly, who was it? Mine went blank. Anyway, intercepts it. Literally gives it. Yes, gives it to Dion. Dion takes it back. And I remember just like the crowd going crazy, and I was like just freaking out because I was like I said, I was young. It was my first game. I'm like, fucking Dion, and just it was insane. Like, and everybody, like I said, I didn't understand. Like I knew Dion was good, like he was amazing. He was fastest guy, but I didn't understand at that time like how good he was until I got a little bit older. But yeah, that's definitely one of them. That's one of the other than the coolest experience, man. Like Mike and I, we had our buddy or a buddy of mine has like seats on the 50, like 2 rows back.
Wow.
And we got to go there a few years ago, and like, I know folks get to do this every week, but like just to have that experience, go to the Mercedes-Benz Club, and like just, man, what are the, I mean, get on the field, that's just, man, that's fun. But as far as, and I will say too, I got to mention it. The most excited I've ever been though is freaking Alfred intercepting Brady and returning it for it was followed by the worst moment of our lives. But like in that moment, I was like, oh my God,
flying.
Mike texted me, like, we're going to do it. We're going to do it.
We're going to do it. Yep.
Mike, I'm glad you brought up that Packers game because I was there for that game too. But I think if I'm going to answer my own question, actually, it's kind of like partially like what John said is like the nostalgia factor. And it was the first playoff game that I'd ever been to, the first Falcons playoff game, which was against the Rams. And I forget what year, but it was one of the Michael Vick teams. And they ran for like 300 yards against the Rams in that game. They have Work and TJ Duckett and like Allen Rossum went off and he had like returned a punt for a touchdown. And it was just so electric. It was like, I was a kid and, had the full experience of like the tailgate and like, losing money to a guy who's like doing like 3-card Monty. It was great. The whole thing was got a bootleg t-shirt, it was amazing. And the experience, just the atmosphere is incredible.
I love it. I
had another one too. I think it was a Bengals game at the Dome. Watching Mike Vick play again. Now we had great seats in the end zone, and that was fun because it was. I think it might have even been a preseason game, but it wasn't. It was a regular season game. Yeah, that was amazing.
It was thrilling to watch him play. Yeah,
to watch him play live is just another thing, man.
It was not fun, but a great time. Was the Redskins played the Buffalo, and Sean had just died, man. Sean Taylor.
died. Sean Taylor.
The next game.
Oh wow.
We got headbands that had his thing on it. We had like the moment of silence. The whole stadium was crying at the same time. So it was an emotional thing that his like daughter was there, young Portis was there. It was a moment I just won't forget. He was on the screen. They had his whole thing on the screen. It was an emotional time. So shout out to Sean Taylor.
Yeah. Legend.
That sucks.
MW said, unfortunately, the only game I was at live was the London game when the great Desmond Ritter threw back-to-back picks. But he took the out of your Falcon mindset. Shout out to you. And Crispy is a Falcon fan raised in Guam.
Wow.
So y'all can give him props for that. How did you even pick?
Seriously.
And I currently live in California. Shout out to you, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Guam and California, Atlanta Falcon fan. Shout out to you. That's a real fan.
Oh, man.
MW said 26 season. That was when Matty was carving like Thanksgiving turkey. Matty was carving, man. Julio scoring his first touchdown. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. Stats from ATL.
Oh, okay. I love it.
Yeah. I said the same thing about Bijan, though, Joe. Like, it's the one thing to see him on TV, but like when you see those guys in person, you see their feet and you see how quick they move and how like it's just a different thing in person. Like you understand like how he can move at full speed and change directions. And it's like you're like, because it looks like sometimes we'll watch guys like, how do you miss that tackle? Well, because dude's a freaking alien. That's why he can like his knees and hamstrings have no bounds. He can just like stop and go.
I'll never forget talking to Calais in the locker room last year, and he was talking about it was like Bijan. I think it was after that Packers game they won early in the year, and Bijan had some really nice moves. So people were asking him about him, and he was like, it's like he's just so shifty. It's tough. We'll be we don't tackle in practice, so when we're watching the tape, we'll see him like put a move on somebody and the guy will be like, oh no, I had him. And he's like, did you though? Are you sure you had him?
Yeah.
That's what cracked me up about, I think it was last year when we could go to training camp and people were getting pissed off because like, man, Troy's getting burnt one-on-one with Bijan. I'm like, absolutely he is. Like everyone's going to get like that's just not even fair. And like, like I said, and I remember Mike and I watching, like we were just like, okay, this guy's definitely different. Like this is not.
It's freaky.
Normal.
It's like like not human almost.
No, not at all. All right, guys. So I was wondering if y'all had to, if y'all weren't doing what you're doing now, and you had to start all over again. Is there a job? Is there a career? Is there something? It could be anything that you would absolutely be doing right now, or are you, or would you just be doing what you're doing right now?
Mike? I'll be doing stand-up comedy. If I could start this all the way over, I would do
all the way
stand-up.
over.
That is a great one.
You would absolutely fucking kill it.
I would do it off the rip. Like when I was like 18, I would start and just go all the way through it.
You could absolutely, because I mean, look, for y'all that don't know this, okay, and this is not a shot, Mike. Mike does zero prep for these shows.
Oh no, none. Okay. Like none.
Pure talent.
No, it really is. Like I have sheets. Okay, I have to have shit that keep me in order. Like I'm 85 years old. I print this shit out from my printer down home. Right. I don't even put it on my computer. I can print the shit out so I can look at it. I can write on it. You know, I can make adjustments. But Mike does everything off the rip. Like it's just literally these games we play. Yeah. This wasn't thought of earlier. This shit comes immediately. This happens every week. Yeah. Like I can't do that. Mine's written down. What I'm going to fucking ask, it's written down right here because I can't do that. Mike is talented as hell when it comes to this stuff. I'm telling you, and dude, I can see you doing SNL. I can see like all that stuff. Yeah. I mean, 100%.
My dream job.
Yeah. Oh, wait,
thank you, buddy.
Yeah, man. Of course.
Man, it's tough because I feel like I do something right now that
job's pretty damn
people
cool,
would
buddy.
absolutely kill for. Yeah, I will say it doesn't. Cool. It's not. You know, it's not the most glorious thing, but there are very glorious moments. You know, of like being able to be on the field at times and things like that.
No doubt, yeah.
So I am very appreciative of what I'm able to do now, which is great. I think that, you know, the one thing I might want would be like to be actually like on the team, like as part of like a coaching staff. So I mean, maybe part of that is me just like wanting to know more about like what they're doing, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a step cooler from what I do. But I don't know. I mean, like, or you know what? How about this? Because my biggest hobby is golf, so I would say maybe being a golf pro. I like to teach too. Generally speaking, I like to do that kind of thing. So maybe being like a golf instructor or something.
Yeah, we still got to hit the golf course one day.
We
said that before. And we just we got to do that. We've got to do that for sure. And Mike, you can come drive the cart and like make us laugh.
Oh man, I just talked it. I'm not. Michael Ward said, "Video game creator." That's a good one. Full Sail in Florida is the place to go for that. Video production, which is still Full Sail in Florida. You need to go look into that. Grew up making beats and carried a handy cam around the car. I love it. I know it's some wild footage on that handy cam, Michael Ward. You better tuck those away. Tuck those away, buddy. So I got one. I was wondering, Mike would have killed on what? I would have loved it.
Oh, here we go.
Oh man. Crispy says, still in my master's studies at, I don't even know what that stands for, buddy. So you got to tell me. He says he's looking to become an NFL front office executive. Currently work for the Niners for pennies. Well, an unpaid intern for Stanford's football team. Wouldn't want to. I love that, man. I hope you get to work for your team because that would be the.
I will say that's the thing about working in sports is it does not pay. You only get paid working in sports if you're a player. That's pretty much it. Or like a top.
I mean, I've had buddies and that's doing exactly what Crispy is doing, and like you start there, and you got to be able to move too. Like that's one thing. One of my guys, he's like, I mean, if you don't get too settled in one spot, because if you're gonna be wherever an opportunity pops, different team, that's where you're gonna be going. You know, that type of thing. So definitely. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah.
I didn't answer. Sorry.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So y'all see that right there. I would have made a better attempt to find people and make a damn band. That's what I would have done. Because I would have been playing bass in a band somewhere on the road.
Johnny Yates, I would have been your lead singer, buddy.
I started playing bass when I was about 14, and my dad was very musically inclined. Thankfully, he gave that to me. And but I had buddies that played. We could never get organized. It just never worked. And then I met some guys. We started to play. Then we moved to Vegas, and then that went away. And then I moved back, and I met two guys that were, 15 years younger than me, twin brothers, in a band called Breakthrough Even. Y'all can check them out. They're amazing. But they and we started playing together. They live like an hour and a half away, and then I have a kid, and it's just like it was never the perfect situation, you know what I mean, to like really, really pursue it. But yeah, man, in a heartbeat, I would I go, be in a band, man, playing some anything, like it could be reggae, it could be metal, whatever, man. I would play any of it. Yeah,
Johnny Yates,
or even producing music, like just the everything around the music. Like I love it. Just love it. Anyway, back to you, Mike.
All right. I was wondering, you guys, because you just brought it up. I got a great question for you guys. I was wondering, My man MC said, "What's up out of your Falcon mind, brothers? Hope all is well. We will get the W on Sunday. We ain't got no time to play around. You see that slang? We ain't got no time to play around, and we don't. So because we ain't got no time to play around, I got a question for you. Okay, I was wondering, who's the more dynamic running back? That's rare. Is it Saquon Barkley or Bijan Robinson? You have to pick a running back to staff on your team. Who's the more dynamic athlete? Who are you going with? Are you going with Bijan Robinson, or Saquon Barkley? Like, who are you picking to staff your front running back position? Who are you going with?
This is so tough.
Is there a wrong answer? There's not really a wrong answer.
Right.
No, definitely not. I was wondering who you, because he hurdled a person backwards. I've seen his turn around
Never
and
seen
jump
anything
over
like
you
that.
backwards. But I've also seen Bijan stop on a dime and you touch him with your hand and he still get past you and you just on a dime and swifted. So you got to pick one of these
or Bijan catching the ball one-handed and then pretending to like pass it behind his back and then go into the end zone untouched. Like, he's so smooth.
Who you going with?
Oh my gosh.
Did y'all see the sideline view of
like
Saquon doing losing their minds? I mean, it's insane.
Incredible. A lot of
just like, what? Did he just do that? No way. I'll go. Yeah, I think I would go Bijan. I think not even just being a homer, but like watching him at Texas and watching him some of the stuff he did there. Because we've not necessarily used him exactly how he was used at Texas. Like, he wasn't strictly outside zone guy there. Like, he would do a lot of inside zone, up the middle, split zone, which we're getting more of that, which I would love to see, by the way, in our offense. Use more of that, not just outside zone. But he can get himself out of messes, dude. It can be just a barrage of bodies around him at his feet, and he's tiptoeing through it. He's spinning through it. He's jumping over guys, and like Joe said, I mean, like, just the flat out just weird athleticism he has to be able to just do different things and make guys miss. And I think we've seen more of Saquon, so it's like I said, I wouldn't be mad at anybody saying Saquon, but I think 2 or 3 years from now, like, if we're doing this, it's like, oh yeah, I'm taking Bijan without a doubt, 100%, like, no question, type of thing.
The crazy thing about that touchdown catch against the Texans last year, where he did the behind the back, it's like, what is he doing going behind the back? Like, there's no reason you would do that, except that he sort of just like instinctively knew that was going to throw the guy off in front of him, like they were playing basketball or something.
And
probably that film room with the defender, you're probably like, dude, why'd you fall with that? Like, what was he
going to do?
But it's just instinct. I think that's what it comes down to. I will go with Bijan as well. And the tiebreaker for me is just because I've been able to meet him, and he's just such a high caliber human being off the field. Great Christian man, which I appreciate, but he's just like totally stand-up guy in every sense of the word. So that's what breaks the tie for me between those two players. But obviously, probably the two best running backs going right now.
I'm going to be John 3, but just because he's a homer. I'm never going to home. I don't care less. I'm never going against the home team.
I love it.
Yeah.
Joe, you're up, buddy.
Did I have another one? Okay. Well, like, I guess I didn't have another one prepared, but since we were talking about running backs, I was wondering, who do you think is the best running back of all time?
Barry Sanders.
That's what I was going to say, Mike. That's the right answer. That's the right answer.
I have no hesitation. I've never seen, I say this on the show 20 times. I haven't seen that in my life. I have never seen anything like that. He stands different. Everybody else is kind of over here. Okay, you kind of do the same thing, and then I don't know what that was. I don't even know what that. I seen him spin a dude backwards, like he went to the right and spent them left, and then spent them back right. I have never seen that. Somebody just stopping in the back. He lost to the loss. It's a 12-yard loss.
Right.
What do you do now? He done shook 13 people. He done shook 11 people. There's no way. I've never seen it before.
That's what I love about Barry. He would lose yards like crazy too, but he would look amazing doing it.
Yep. He would lose. He get an 8-yard loss and look amazing. That's shit.
He breaks 7 tackles in 8-yard loss.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was
breaks
like
7 tackles. Yep.
Yeah, his prime was like right as in like my prime as like a kid being obsessed with football and just like idolizing these guys. And I remember it was like him and Emmett Smith were like the two best running backs, and Emmett was great because he was so prolific and he would just the yardage totals were incredible for him, and he played on this amazing team and he won the Super Bowls and all that. But Barry was just like so exciting to watch. So I remember like I would look forward to every Thanksgiving. We couldn't really watch games like we could nowadays, but it's like you got so excited for Thanksgiving because you know you were gonna get to watch Barry Sanders and he was gonna ball out.
Yeah, I used to argue with my buddies all the time. I was like, man, you put Barry on that team with that offensive line that Emmett had, and we're talking about a whole different statistical category.
And I'm not shitting on. He was a great, but he wouldn't get touched until he was like 5 into the run. Like he had a huge lineman. And he knew how to find the hole. He was great at that, man. But Barry, he didn't have to have no help.
He didn't.
He didn't. Yeah, those teams were terrible.
Those teams were bad.
I just give you the ball and you juke everybody and just go. Like we're not blocking for you. And he'd be like, "All right, just give me the ball." And then he would do it, and then you would be like, "What is this? I don't even know what I'm watching." And on Madden, it was crazy.
Madden, he was ridiculous. Yeah, he was untouchable on Madden. Yeah. But no, it was just yeah, like you said, Mike, just a different cat. Like you didn't like for guys our age that were able to watch him. I mean, like I said, you've never seen anything like that because it was just. I mean, everybody's seen the Dallas clip where he literally makes damn near the entire team miss. Like I mean, like almost every guy has a chance at him and he misses him. But did y'all see the documentary on Barry a while back?
Yeah,
that was awesome. I didn't see it.
It's on Prime. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Really good. It's him and his family, his boys talk about it. Like him, like it's just it's pretty cool.
I remember when he retired, it was shocking. It was like, wow.
Yeah,
went on top. That's for sure.
LT's a great one too.
LT's good. LT's a really good call. LT's a really good call. Some of the best running backs I feel like aren't necessarily like the guys who ran for the most yards because those are technically just guys who had great offensive lines and stuff like that.
I have to throw this in there because he don't get talked about. And please help me. Damn it, I'm gonna insult this man. Who was the Bears running back? He played for the Bears.
Walter Payton?
No, he was like recent. He was really good. He could do everything. I'm talking about in the last like 5 years. I know y'all know I'm talking about. This dude could do anything. He was the Bears like running back for some years. I cannot think of his name. I used to talk about this dude all the time. He was amazing. He could catch, he could block, he was tough, he could run. The Chicago Bears starting running back for years was phenomenal. And he never get please, John, he'd never get mentioned with the top. I mean, that dude could do everything. I just saw it when he said he could do everything. I'm like, that dude was everything you want in a running back, man. I forgot his name.
You got Matt Forte?
Matt Forte. Matt Forte was nasty, man. Matt Forte was great. He could do everything. He was a really nice good running back. Really good running back, man. He's underrated.
I was back in the day when those backs had to like play all 3 downs, you know, do everything. They got no breaks.
Yeah.
Thurman Thomas and them.
Yeah, Crispy said just because Thurman Thomas is another good call. He was really good. Yeah, he was in that same time period too.
That same era.
Yeah, he said just because he never saw Barry play.
Marshawn Lynch wasn't flashy to fear foul.
Lynch was a great call.
I'm gonna tell you who you got to see, but if you ever get a chance to, man, Google. I don't know if you can find it. It was a guy who played for the Cowboys. His name was Marion Barber. He passed away. He used to do it. He used to run straight at the.
He was a beast.
Through a person, like it was ridiculous. He was wild. MW said Adrian Peterson. I just thought him.
We just thought about him the other day. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Bo Jackson.
Yeah, you never seen anything like Bo, dude. He go out there, smoke somebody on the field, then go out there and throw like 100 mile an hour from left field and playing baseball. That guy was ridiculous. Everybody Matt Forte.
Matt Forte was something up. Matt Forte. Marion the Barbarian was his name.
I remember Marion Barber from when he was in college at Minnesota. He was there. There was another guy there at Minnesota at the same time, and they were incredible. I'm an Ohio State fan, so I was watching Big Ten, a lot of Big Ten back then, and something the third.
Like people.
The third.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, you're right. All right, so my last one, man. I was wondering, who is y'all's go-to actor or actress? Like if it's out and it's him, like you're watching it. It don't matter what it is. It could be like anything. You're gonna watch it.
I gotta get his name real quick. Hold on.
Okay. I'll go first.
All right, good.
And it's not necessarily that I like him, but it's just the movies are always amazing that he's in, and it's Tom Cruise, and he's just been doing it his entire career. And it's like, if he's in a movie, it's definitely worth watching.
Yeah.
It's a solid call. Yeah.
Again, it's not like he's some incredible actor or anything, but it's just he's really good at what he does, which is playing those action roles.
Yeah.
My favorite character of all time is Tropic Thunder.
That was amazing. Yeah. Which is funny because that's like the one outlier of like.
It is. It's like it's the most weirdest.
That movie is
got the fat suit. Hilarious. He's dancing at the end, like just y'all saw how they were trying to cancel that movie, right? Because of Robert Downey Jr. I'm like, you kidding me? Like, come on.
It's just silly. It was just satire.
It's just ridiculous. It never could have been made nowadays, but
of course not. But it was, that whole scene was hilarious, man. What you mean, you people?
That movie.
Yeah, it's just satire. It's supposed to be.
It is.
It's
really common. That's a whole other conversation. Mike, did you
find a guy? Okay, his name is Christoph Waltz. Okay.
Oh wow. Inglourious Basterds.
Inglourious Basterds guy, the
Inglourious Basterds is one of my
or whatever.
Yeah, I think he is. He like when I watch him, like I feel like it's real. Like he's a very good actor.
He's amazing.
He don't miss. Yeah. The way he can do like accents, he can do a lot of accents. He doesn't miss. He is amazing. I love that guy. If he's in it, I'm watching.
For me, it's Russell Crowe, man. Like
Russell Crowe, the Coliseum.
I mean, not just Gladiator, but like the amount of different shit he did. Like Gladiator was obviously amazing, but like The Insider, I don't know if y'all ever saw that, where he was about the whole tobacco industry, and he played like the guy who was basically the insider as part of the company. And then Beautiful Mind was ridiculous.
A
great movie there. I think everything he seems to do, like there's Proof of Life, which is still one of my favorites. It's very like it wasn't a huge like box office, but
I saw that.
You seen it? It's a good one, dude. Like
that was really good.
He just plays a badass freaking special forces type of guy. Who's just, I mean, yeah, that's anything like anything. And he does, like I said, it's not always action. Sometimes he'll play some weird roles. Like I never really got I forgot which one he was in. He was like the ship captain or whatever. I never really watched that one, but like everything else, I've literally seen, pretty much the entire thing. Marlon said that Omar Epps. That's a good call.
Too. Yeah. That was a great movie. Leo DiCaprio. He always puts on the show. He does. Yeah.
I even say.
Oh man, Leo don't miss, and I'm not talking movies. Leo don't miss. Leo don't miss.
Kind of reason.
Keanu Reeves. Always good one. Yeah,
I was gonna say Denzel too. Like I feel like he doesn't do as much anymore. But again, like
you can't watch Men on Fire and not get jacked up. Like you just like those are, and of course Training Day, like legendary type performances there.
Yeah,
but Mike, you got one more, buddy? You done?
I got one more. I was wondering if we could get Joe to say EA Sports. It's in the game. Just one time. I was wondering one time. EA Sports.
I'm trying to think if there's like a voice to do it in.
It's your voice, Joe. That's what I'm telling you. You already got the voice. That's what we're telling you.
It's like it's like EA Sports. It's in the game.
Dude,
kind of crack.
Dude.
You gotta
get the rhythm. You gotta get that cadence of it. Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. That's the next voice of John Madden. I guarantee it.
Amazing.
All right, man. Well, Joe, we kept you for an hour and 40 minutes, man. We
Thank
very
you, Joe.
much appreciate you coming.
Hour and 40 minutes of fun, boys. It was a good time.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Buddy.
Yeah, man. We'll definitely, before the season's up, we'll have you back on again. Maybe going into the playoffs, because we'll go ahead and say it. We're going to the playoffs, damn it. So we'll we'll have you in before that happens. But guys, so we appreciate y'all, man. Come by tonight in the chat and participate, man. Whenever y'all come in and y'all participate in the games, so much more fun, man. We get to just get more the more interaction, the better, man. We love it. So man, if y'all were here, man, hit the like button for us, hit the subscribe button for us. Joe, man, before you go too, man, and obviously they know 19 on the game. Anything else that you want to plug before we get out of here?
Yeah, I'll plug. I've got a website, 5stripefinal.com, which is an Atlanta United website. They're going on a little run
Saturday,
right now in the
baby.
playoffs. That's right. They'll be playing Lionel Messi. So if they win, then we'll have more games to talk about. And if they lose, the off season begins, and it'll be a whole lot of fun. And we're covering all the the wheeling and dealing that goes on as soon as the off season starts and all these sports. So it's a good time. 5stripefinal.com.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. We'll definitely be watching on. Y'all got hats too? Oh man,
as well. We got one, which is I'm wearing it right now. We got it's a 1-on-1 right now.
Soccer ball. It's all.
So where did you? We have to talk about where did you get? We'll have to talk about where you get your hats because we're trying to find like what we can do for.
So actually, it's my brother and sister they bought an embroidery machine, so they just made this for me last year for Christmas. But they can just make hats right there locally. So.
Yep.
Well, damn. Okay. Well, I mean, Amanda has some things like that she can do. Like she made a decal for me. But we just got to figure out ways to it's like similar.
Exactly.
Stuff, but
yeah. We've come up with the logo. I didn't even know they could just take the logo and make
that was
make a hat out of it. So cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. MW, appreciate you, buddy. Crispy, thank you, dude. You could make it live again. Yeah, man. So, like I said, we'll be back. I don't know, probably after the game. Was it Sunday? We'll be coming to you after the game at some point. Maybe not be right after, but we're good. We're done with baseball, so we'll be good for Sunday. I know Mike will be sitting there watching the game. So, Joe, again, man, thanks so much, dude, for coming by.
Thank you, Joe.
Having fun with us,
you guys.
And Marlon, appreciate you, brother. Yeah, man.
Thank you, MC.
Yep, man. So, follow us Out of Your Falcon Mind, TikTok, Instagram, Out of Your Effing Mind on X. You can email us atlfalconfancast@gmail.com. And, man, that's pretty much it. We will catch y'all Sunday after we beat the Saints on Sunday. We'll be talking about a really good win, regardless of how it comes. I don't care if we win by an onside kick, if somebody drops a ball and we run it back, whatever. I don't care. As long as we win, we get out of there 2-0 against the Saints this year. That's all I care about. So let's do that. So, Mike, take us out, buddy.
Great show. Out of Your Falcon Mind. Peace.